All right, Jules. I know you've got things to say about Deschamps.
Yeah.
But I think we don't want to get into this thing of negativity because I think, again, Spain deserve a ton of praise.
Absolutely.
We've praised Yamal. For me, it's the maturity and the decision making as much as the skill, right? You can have, like, he's a 16-year-old in a man's body. He's strong, and we've seen 16-year-olds who can try difficult things or are willing to do it. But the way he does it at the right time, there's an efficiency to it. And I'm thinking not so much, obviously the goal was phenomenal, but he tried another one. He hit this running curler in the second half.
Yeah, over the bar.
And I thought, this is exactly the right decision. How often do we see skilled players who maybe are overconfident at a young age and they give the ball away in the wrong positions? I just feel like there's like a computer in that guy's brain.
Yeah, you're right. And again, I mean, some people seem surprised. And unless you've lived on another planet for the last 18 months, there's nothing that he does in this tournament that is surprising, I think. Maybe you can say we were not sure if he could step up at this level because this is the best of what you have in Europe, right? But he's been so good still in a poor Barcelona team for most of the season that really what he's doing there, I'm more surprised maybe by Nico Williams' level than by Lamin's level, really. And I just think that if you think about it, Messi at that age never had this kind of impact in a major tournament. Pelé never had an impact. Diego never had that.
I think
Julien never had that.
Rooney is the parallel here.
But he was not 16 either in a major tournament. 16 for Everton against Arsenal.
A Euro 2004? Was he just turned 17?
Well, yeah, he was going towards 18. See, I think this is the youngest that anybody has had this kind of impact. He turned 17 on Saturday, I mean.
Right.
The day before the final. He played with Jesus Navas, who's older than his own dad. The guy playing in that game behind him is older than his own dad. It's just, the whole thing is just, and I just think this is a talent that, maybe because Barcelona haven't been that good in the season that just finished, that maybe people didn't realize how special he was. But it's just crazy.
I want to go back and hit one of my favorite points. Apologies for repeating myself. But as you know, I sometimes have a reputation for being a little bit of a contrarian.
Yeah.
And one of these things that come out is when people use terms like world class, and people use terms like pedigree and experience and knowing how to win and the winning mentality, which is this nonsense which Antonio Conte keeps pulling out. But it's not just him, right? And after the fact, teams with better, higher paid players, right, they win, and it's like, oh, the culture of winning. Let's just remind yourselves, and I'm going to go through the Spain team, who these people are, okay? Unai Simon is a guy who plays for a non-Champions League team, did not have a great season. Okay keeper.
Best goalkeeper of La Liga, I think, this season.
Well, because Thibaut Courtois is injured.
I know,
but I mean,
yeah.
Also, he might have won the.
No.
He might have won it, but he's not. Right? He's really not. Like he is really not.
Yeah.
He is really, really not. For your team, if Donnarumma gets kidnapped by aliens tomorrow, and they can say, "Oh, Jules, you can pick any goalkeeper in La Liga to replace him." Right? For one season. You are not picking Unai Simon. No. Tell me you're not. You're going to pick Black You're going to pick your. So let's please not this best goalkeeper in my foot.
To you.
Okay?
It's just a fact.
We're not starting on
It's a fact.
Jesus Navas, 38 years old, filling in.
It's Carvajal.
But it was Jesus Navas in this game.
Yeah, but
he got stood up by Mbappe in the first one, which hurt me because I thought, man, you built your whole career on pace, right? Jesus Navas, that's kind of most of what he had. And now all of a sudden at 38, you're scared of Kylian's pace, which is fair enough because you're 38 years old. And so he leaves the space and Kylian delivers the perfect cross for Kolo Muani. The center backs, Nacho. Let's remind ourselves, 12 months ago, Nacho was the fourth center back at Real Madrid. He's 34, I think. He's going, where is he playing next year? El Garrafa, right? So this is the guy, he's won everything. I don't want to say he's a passenger because that would be unkind. But he's won everything. Most of what he's won in his career, he's the backup to the backup of the backup, right? Aymeric Laporte, his career nosedived in the last couple seasons at in Manchester City. He went to Saudi. I have no idea what he did there. He's still Aymeric Laporte.
Sweet revenge for him, though, by the way, because obviously Deschamps kind of blacklisted him, and that's why he changed
Yeah,
countries.
I think he really
So
enjoyed
it must
it.
have been really sweet for Laporte to win that game against Deschamps.
Cucurella did better in the last couple months at Chelsea, I will admit that. But for the previous 18 months, he was a punchline to every joke. And actually, even in this game, he kind of reverted to form because there's one Spanish player who I think didn't play as well as he did earlier in this game. It was obviously Cucurella.
Yeah.
Rodri.
Your point stops here. We agree, right?
What?
Your point stops now.
No, my point continues.
It doesn't.
I want to
can't
remind
continue.
people who these people are. Rodri's won everything. He is either the best in the world in his position or close to it.
Yeah.
Nothing to say about him. Fabian Ruiz. This is a guy, right? A lot of hype at Betis. Goes to Napoli. Looks good for a while. Looks good for 2-3 years. Oh, look, he's tall and he's skillful. What an unusual combination. Doesn't really work out for him towards the end. Goes to Paris Saint-Germain. Has a difficult first season. Has injuries. Played half a year this year. Really hasn't won anything this year.
Started in the Champions League semi-final.
No, it's fine. What? But yeah, this year. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
why are you basing your points on the form and the season
I'm
of the player?
basing myself on the fact that this is a guy in mid-career who does not have this fancy pedigree, who does not have this.
He's been top for the last 6 months. He's been really good levels for the last 6
That's
months.
fine. But he got back to that level. He's a guy that people did not believe in
maybe.
when he was younger. This
Yeah,
is my
but-
point I'm making about these. These are comeback kids. I'm not saying they're bad players.
No, but it's still a good. He's a really good player.
Dani
better than
Olmo.
Nacho.
You want to go there? Dani Olmo, who leaves La Masia to go to Croatia, who's been injured more than half the time since joining Leipzig, right? This is what these people have had to overcome.
I know, but the talent is there. They've always had talent. Whether they've been injured, whether their progression has been slow, whether
But
they
this
had
is the point I'm making.
No, I know.
None
but
of these people are.
I just don't understand your point. What's your point?
My point is this whole idea of experience, of having won things, of being a superstar, of having pedigree, winning mentality. It's all nonsense.
But some in that team have won loads of things. Nacho, even as the backup of the backup of the backup, has been in dressing rooms that have won. Carvajal the same.
Okay, Carvajal wasn't there for this game.
He was there.
But
He didn't play, but he was there. He's been there through the whole tournament. Rodri has won stuff.
of course, Rodri. We said Rodri is his own case.
But like
Yamal's had 18 months.
But La Man won La Liga. La Man won La Liga. Nico
Yamal
Williams
even.
won Copa del Rey. Did you see what I mean?
Copa del Rey. Wow, for
But he
Athletic
doesn't-
Bilbao.
but he
Nico
plays-
Williams
he
has
doesn't
played.
play for Man City.
But that is my point.
But-
My
but
point.
what-
No, I'm juxtaposing this with England, where most of these people have won important things, have been up there.
What have Bukayo Saka won?
What?
What have Declan Rice won? What have Bukayo Saka won?
Well, Declan Rice played for West Ham, who won the World Cup.
No, but
Let's
you see what I mean?
forget that.
I just think that they've created a team, which is De La Fuente's.
They've created a
immense
team
skill.
with people who, most of whom, at one point or another, people stopped believing in. That is my point. And I think it's pretty obvious. And I think it's hard to dispute this.
Okay, but
People stop believing in most of these players,
No,
or they never believed in some
But
of
De La
them.
Fuente believes in them. So I don't know. Like De La Fuente.
That
this
is the
not,
point here.
But this is not his B squad. This is the A squad. So.
But it's an A squad that's made up of people who went off the path, who were not on the conveyor belt. In fact, the guy who had everything. The guy, remember, if you read obviously Moneyball and then Billy Bean, and they make the example of Billy Bean, how he was the 5-tool guy. He was the guy who had everything to succeed according to the scouts and the eye test, and Billy Bean was never the player he should have been.
Yeah.
Billy Bean is Alvaro Morata. Morata is the guy who, at age 18, people said, he has everything. He's strong, he's fast, he's intelligent, he's very skillful, he's handsome as well.
Yeah.
Morata is the perfect embodiment then of the guy who should have had that, who should have had the pedigree because he was at Real Madrid. And then his career went this way and that. I thought he always performed to a high level, but I think it's fair to say nobody would say, oh, Morata achieved what we expected him to achieve when he was 18 years old, right?
Yeah.
So he is the one guy who actually had that, and then it didn't work out for him. That's what I find incredible about this team. The fact that he took these people and said, I don't care about your pedigree, I don't care about your winning mentality, I don't care about your CV. We can mold this into a team that works. And he also got away from the Lucho experience, because this team, whatever people say, there is much more verticality to this team
for sure.
than there was to
It's a different
to decide
style,
under
completely,
Lucho, right?
Completely. Yeah. I just think this is his best. I can't
I'm
see
not saying
another
it's not his
player.
best 11, Jules.
No, but in that sense, I understand all your point about some of those players, where they're coming from.
I
and the career that
love
they
I love the
had.
human story of this player.
No, which is true. I just think that they.
These aren't Chouameni's who've been on a basically continuous upward trajectory in their career, right? That is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, maybe, but I think the way they complement each other is just finally really amazing. And they had 2 shots on target against France. France had more shots on target. France had more chances, and they won because they can control games. They can attack well. They can defend well. They ride their luck a little bit, but like everybody. And again, you go find the tournament by having a bit of luck, like Casillas told us the other day when we interviewed him with producer Freddie. And they just have everything. And I think it's really rare to have everything in a tournament like this. And they are the first team ever to win the first 6 games at Euros. Nobody had ever done it. So they really have something very special.
Let me ask you this. Spain have probably 2 starters who aren't here, who I think would be definite starters. And that's Balde and Gavi, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
Yeah. Oh, Pedri. Yeah, Pedri.
Well, but
yeah,
Pedri's
Pedri
been in
was
the
there,
tournament,
though,
right? He's
yeah,
injured. He
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
there for this game, obviously. Had they been fit, Gavi would have probably played on the wing, right? I assume. Or
I'm
maybe
not sure
Gavi would
about
have played
that.
for Fabian Ruiz. I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
maybe.
Balde would have played for Cucurella. Okay, Balde Cucurella, upgrade. I don't think there's an argument there.
Yeah.
Gavi a better player than Fabian Ruiz, probably a better player than Nico Williams too.
Different
But
profiles. I don't think De La Fuente would change anything from the 2 wingers that he has to bring another profile as a winger.
So if Gavi had been fit, do you think he would have found a spot for him in the team?
Yeah. I'm not sure about that. I think in Fabian, whether we like him or not, whether we think he's a bit clunky, I don't know, whatever. He complements Rodri and whoever is the third midfielder, Gavi, Pedri, or Dani Olmo, so well that I think this team cannot do without Fabian Ruiz from the start. Then after an hour, Mikel Merino.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, had Gavi been fit for this tournament, Spain might have played a different way.
Maybe, but I don't think you can play Gavi and Pedri in this team together. I don't think it would work.
It would be a
with
different
Lamine
team.
and Nico, yeah.
All right, moving on to France. I've been critical of Deschamps for. When was he appointed? 2016?
2012.
2012. There you go. We have a long history going back together.
History, 12 years. It's a long time.
And my basic point is, as you know, I don't want to repeat myself, is basically that if you have these attacking tools, you have to use them. You can't just play in transition all the time. And when you're the stronger team, you don't do that. And Spain and France are the stronger team, have been certainly against most of the opponents that they faced for most of his tenure. And I think we saw that again. You can't just switch it on and play a different way. Even though first 15 minutes they tried. But I'll leave the floor to you.
No, it's not that. It's just he's been repeating to us through this whole tournament that we can't argue with his tactics, albeit as defensive as they are, because he's winning football matches. Now he's lost. So now we can look into it and say, okay, your substitutions and in-game management against Spain was horrendous. Everything that he did, from taking too long to make the first substitutions after an hour, when we clearly all have seen that midfield which could not cope with Rodri, Fabian and Dani Olmo, didn't do anything. Even some of the starters, like you mentioned Rabiot already, are very questionable. I think his whole idea that plan A and plan B and plan C and plan of every other letters in the alphabet was all about Kylian was wrong. And certainly maybe not wrong at the start of the tournament, but once you could see that he was just not in it, then change something, do something different, try something different. Instead, he kept building everything around Kylian, and that backfired because that never worked. And then I even think that the use of the Serbs was poor, which created a lot of frustration within the camp. And just overall, I just don't think that he's been good enough. And for me, maybe the most damning thing about that game against Spain is that during that first half, we could hear him shouting at Rabiot, Kanté, and Tchouaméni, "It's 3v3 in midfield. Just sort this out. We can't be overplayed like that." When for all of us in the stadium and maybe even people on television, you could clearly see that because Nico Williams or Lamine Yamal were coming inside, it was never a 3v3 in midfield. It was very obvious that that the French were outnumbered by Spain because one of the 2 wingers were coming inside. So suddenly you were 4v3 in midfield.
So this is another logical thing. You know that going into the game they have a good, Spain have a really, really good midfield. And that the wingers will come inside, especially Yamal. Nico maybe a little less so. Wouldn't there's the obvious thing? In the previous game, he played the diamond with Griezmann. Griezmann did not have a good game. but you have other midfielders. Could this have been a game where maybe, even though I want to see Dembele, maybe Dembele's an impact sub and you go with a diamond or a two? Is this something?
No, because I think he needed the wingers because Cucurella and Jesus Navas are Cucurella and Jesus Navas. So you have to target them. So this, which is fine with me. But the midfield issue of those 3v4 or being outnumbered, you can sort it out with still playing 4-3-3 football. It's not a problem. But he just never had that. And the worst maybe is that he didn't even see it. When we could all see it, he could not see it. And I think maybe he's lost a bit of that touch that made him special. And again, it's 4 semi-finals in 5 tournaments. You just can't argue with the result. Nobody has ever done this. This is unprecedented. 4 in 5 is just crazy. So no problem with that. But there's a point where he mattered the most that it just didn't click for him, because as you said, you can work on your defensive structure and shape all the time. When you have to go forward, this is the first time in the tournament they were behind. Never before they've been behind. And then when they were behind and they had to find that flow to go forward and to attack, even if they tried, it was just not there because they hadn't worked on it enough. Even if Kylian had that chance at the end that we saw him score so many times, one-on-one with Vivian, he goes on the outside. We know everybody knows exactly what's going to happen, and then that ball goes over the bar. And this is it. This is the moment, and he didn't take it.
It's the age-old analogy, right, in football, the chef or the ingredients, and Ace had the best ingredients, and maybe that's why France's meals were so good for the last 10 years or so.